Hi, so before I start this, I'm going to make a mention of a video that really impressed me. It's called Lucy Letby's Mugshot Was Edited, But Why? It's by The Unexplained Truth, and he goes into how this video was edited. So he's obviously got quite a lot of knowledge in this area. Now, it could be a police procedure to make photographs look a certain way, so they all have the same standard appearance, but it shows how much information has been changed or edited before it's come into the general media. So our audience perception of it is going to be quite a bit different to the people who had first-hand knowledge or sight or hearing of Lucy Letby herself. So yeah, go watch that video. It is really interesting and you'll definitely learn something from it. Okay, so I want to look at how Dr Jayaram expresses emotion, particularly tearfulness, in the two interviews he did for ITV News. So these videos are called, they're on YouTube, they're called Doctor Who Helped Catch Lucy Letby Calls for Full Public Inquiry. Oh, misspelt that. And also babies could have been saved. So both ITV interviews, and if you look up Dr Jayaram, I think they're actually the top two videos that come up. So I'm looking at this from a phonetic point of view, and also from a musician's point of view about, you know, what happens to the voice when you're showing emotion. Where does it give? Where doesn't it give? And what I've observed here. So I'll start with the Doctor Who Helped Catch Lucy Letby Calls for Full Public Inquiry. So we're into 4 minutes and 2 seconds roughly, and he is, that's it, this is where he is asked if he is a hero, and he does a big sigh and a big intake of breath. He shuts his eyes and sort of raises his eyes to heaven. I mean, it's almost, you know, like an angel, or like, you know, raising your eyes to heaven to pray or praise God, or, you know, be angelic. That is honestly the first impression. This is where he then grabs his chin and he exhales. So he does an emotional sigh. I mean, I'm talking about, is it genuine? Is it not genuine? So this is just how I'm personally reacting. So he says, "I'm not a hero, Paul," and this is where he creaks. So he creaks nearer the end of the word. So "I'm not a hero, Paul." There's a little break in the voice there. Then he does a big swallow. And then he says, "It's my job," so a little bit of creak, tearfulness, "to look after babies and children. And I'm probably doing a very bad job of replicating what he does. But what I'm noticing here is everything, the size, the intakes, the exhales, the swallows, everything is completely smooth. There are no raggedy bits of breathing. He recovers very, very quickly after expressing tearfulness. And also, the tearful utterances, or the croaks, they are at the end of phrases or at the end of clauses. So they're on the downturn because we end our sentences in the UK on a low note. So some cultures, like Australian cultures, they end on an up note, but you know, like it's a nice day, so they do that. But we end ours, we drop the register a bit. So it's all very, very regular. I mean, this is almost tabulated, to be honest. Now, it is the creak on children. I'm a little uncertain of that, because when pop stars do this and they're showing emotion in a song, they rise to a high note, and the creak will often be on the higher vowels. So if you're talking about vowels and you start with your mouth completely open, so you'd be making the sound and then you close your mouth, so you go but you can hear how the vowel changes. So the high vowels are like A, E, I, E, E. Those are produced higher in the mouth, and those are the ones, so you get Michael Jackson and Ben, you got a friend. But could you imagine if, because he was singing about his rat, could you imagine if his rat was called John? So John, because O is a lower vowel. The crack doesn't quite work. So where they're doing it is on the higher frequency vowels, you're pushing air. You're making the effort. You're pushing air through a tighter passage. So it's easier to get the creak. It's really harder to do it on a lower register. But I'm going to come on a bit more to that afterwards. So in summary, this is all too smooth. This is all too regular. It's all too well controlled. It really doesn't quite ring true to me because of that. So the second interview, babies could have been saved. I haven't written down the time here, but it's, let me just have a look at the video. It's around the 9-minute mark ish, because that is a little bit of a longer video. So the interview asks, do you think babies could have been saved? And then we get the sigh and the intake. And again, it's very slow, controlled. And then it's a creak. It's a horrible thing to say. Creak, again, end of phrase. But I do genuinely believe creak there, and then he recovers equilibrium quite straight away. There are 4 or 5 babies. Now, he's creaking in the previous sentence. Then he talks about 4 or 5 babies, quite normally, quite strongly, and he must surely have the images of those babies in his mind. But yet he's talking quite normally, loosely, strongly, in a relaxed way. So there are 4 or 5 babies who could be going to school now, and then he does a swallow, and he gets tearful again, who aren't. So again, we're at the end of the sentence. So to follow up with the creaky voice, or the break in the voice when someone is singing, you'd be doing it when you're reaching a higher note, so you'd peak on it. You'd be doing it with certain vowel sounds more than others, because you'd, in a higher register, on a higher note, higher vowel sounds, you're narrowing the airway, so you got a bit more control of it. Now, I've actually seen someone genuinely getting caught out by emotion in a song, and this is actually Ronnie Brown's Flowers of the Forest. It's a folk song, and I think it's the Flowers of the Forest. I could be wrong, but you can tell this is genuine emotion. Now, he doesn't do the crack to show emotion. He just basically sings the song as read, basically. But he starts struggling on some of the low notes, and that actually rings true, because on the lower notes everything is more relaxed. The high notes you have to struggle a bit to reach. I mean, as I say, I'm not a singer, but the lower notes, they're within easy reach. There should be no problem singing them, but he kind of struggles, and it's almost like he loses breath. So you can, this is a nice example of how you can tell if it's an effect, and to do it for an effect in a song, I mean, it's great, because you want to convey feelings and emotion to your listener, but if it happens for real, it will happen in quite another way. And for me, this is way too tabulated. It's too regular, too smooth. There are no real breaks in breathing, so he's never really catching his breath. He's never suddenly losing the word. So this is what I read from these two interviews. Thank you so much for all of your comments. There have been so many of them. And I also want to say, I mean, it's great that all these comments are coming, and it's really, really important that we do make comments, because we're getting this hive mind thing going on, by where people are coming in with whatever expertise and experience they have, and they can point to things and say, right, this is something I know about, or this looks odd to me, and I have a little background in this, or whatever. So this is helping to challenge the media presentation that we've had, and I think that is really, really important. So thank you all, and please like, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video.